Hi, my name's Mike, and I am an AI-aholic.
Hi, Mike.
I have a confession to make. My last big feature that I worked on, you know, the AI files one, the one that I just did a whole big video on, well, it's total slop. You see, I just got so carried away with the speed of development that AI gave me that I just didn't stop to think of the consequences. Okay, enough of that. So basically the problem was that I didn't actually truly understand what the code was doing. Now don't get me wrong, I understood the feature from like a high level perspective, but when I was getting requests about specific parts of the code, I was kind of like, yeah. And that's not great when an important feature like this is on the critical path for our users. So I decided, no, enough was enough. I'm going to get my hands dirty and wade through this slop to try and uncover exactly what's going on here. I learned some valuable lessons along the way on my de-slopping journey that I think are worth sharing, so stick around as I have 3 actionable things that you can do to de-slop your code today, and I might even share a skill at the end that can help you because, you know, the only way to fix AI slop is with more AI, right? Anyways, once you've grabbed yourself a lovely cup of tea, drop me a like and sub, we'll get into it. Let's just start off with a quick reminder of this feature if you haven't watched my previous videos on this already. But basically, AI Files is going to inject this additional prompt when you set up a Convex project, asking you whether you would like to add the AI files to your project. Now, AI files are guidelines and agent skills that are designed to enhance the model performance when writing Convex code. And as part of this feature, there's a new CLI that you can use to update the AI files or remove them or a few other things. Okay, so far so good. Seems pretty simple, right? Yeah, well, the issue is that there are a number of different logical flows that the code can go through, whether you're running Convex dev for the first time or subsequent times, or are you running from the AI files CLI, or are you running for the Convex dev path? Are you a human, or are you an agent, or are you on the CI or some other sort of non-interactive prompt? And so, in short, we just have this tangle of logic and rules that's just hard to follow at the best of times, let alone when the code looks something like this. Yeah, so most of the code here is contained in this 1000 line index file that I personally find really hard to know where even to start when code looks like this. So my first step is to break this up into smaller files, areas of different responsibility. So now I think it's much better. We have a number of smaller files that pertain to key areas such as the agents MD, Claude's MD, guideline skills, etc. By the way, as we go through this, I just want to note that I didn't actually do all this manually by hand. I'm not some kind of savage. I just swapped to a smaller model, faster model, and then I would just queue up a bunch of orders, like split this off here, split that bit off there, etc. Now, maybe I could have given the AI a high-level goal, such as split this up into, sensible sections, and it would have worked fine. But for me, part of the reason for doing this de-slopping process, doing this first initial de-slopping process, is for me to get a better grasp of where the various parts of the code base are and what the various functions are. So this little bit of extra manual work is acceptable for me at this stage. Okay, so now that we've split things up a bit and I have at least a general high-level idea of the different parts of the code base, I began working on the actual code itself. So as an example, let's take a look at one of these gnarly tangled functions that I've been talking about. Yeah, so if this makes you go a little bit cross-eyed, you aren't alone, as that's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. Not only is it far too long, it's also just doing like far too many separate things. It's kind of hard to tell where one part ends and another one begins, or one part begins and another part ends, There's also a bunch of this nesting and sub-nesting logic in here and error handling, which makes me just go, ugh, ugh. Now, when I encounter a big gnarly function like this, the first thing I try to understand is what is actually the purpose of this function? What is it trying to do? So we actually have a comment at the top here, which is handy. But don't forget, you can't always trust comments because they can very easily go stale. But what it does say is write/update all Convex AI files, guidelines, agents MD, Claude MD, skills, etc. Yeah, so a quick scan of the code here makes me think that this comment probably isn't stale, which is nice. I'm seeing parts that seem to be handling the various different functions as mentioned. So this most sensible thing that I would do next here is to split this into different subfunctions. And that results in something that looks more like this. That's much better in my opinion. Now we have a clear set of things that the function is going to undertake, extracting out each part to its own little self-contained function. It's also much easier to understand what this function is just going to do at a glance and allows us to easily make more changes in the future. Now I don't want to bore you guys and going through every minor clean code practice that I followed here. I have a couple of videos on this topic already if you want to know more, but I do want to just quickly dive into this function, read AI config or default, as it illustrates a couple of things that I'm aiming for. Note how we named this function read AI state or default. So it's clear from the name of the function what it's going to do, and also note that it's going to call into this attempt read AI state function. Right off the bat, note that we named it read AI state or default, so it's super clear from the name of the function what it's supposed to be doing. And you can see that it handles the various different code paths that could potentially come out of this function, the attempt read AI state, which is actually doing the reading. And if we just double click into there, you'll note that this function again is being prefixed with a sensible name, attempt here. So it indicates that it could potentially fail, but we are also going to be catching those errors and leaving it up to you to deal with those errors. So this clear separation of responsibilities between the function and the caller of that function makes the responsibilities, the different layers of responsibilities on the call stack very clear and, in my opinion, critical to making code more readable and less sloppy. Okay, now let's get to... Okay, so if you're like me and are facing a big ball of slop, here's some key actionable things that you can undertake to untangle it all. 1. Break large functions down into small, more manageable functions. Now, we've already talked about this a little bit, but it's just a really easy thing you can do to improve the code clarity. Just select a chunk of code and tell the model to stick this into its own self-contained function. Make sure you tell the model explicitly or through agentsmd to give it a nice descriptive name so that the code becomes self-documenting. 2. Segregate query from the command. So what I mean by that is that AI, well, and junior coders in general probably, have a habit of co-locating the query with the command. To show you what I mean, check out this example from this function before the refactor. So we have this function check AI files staleness. It sounds like it's going to check to see if the AI files are stale, but as we can see from the code, and even from the comments up the top here, it's also going to perform the action or the command, basically, which is going to log out the message if the AI files are indeed stale. So really, this function should be called check AI file staleness and log out if stale. But really, we could also make it even more clear by splitting out the actual checking from performing the actual command, which is the logging. So now we hand off this actual checking to this determine AI file staleness function. It returns a union of literals, and then we just handle each one performing whatever action is required. And then right at the end here, we drop an exhaustive check to make sure that we've handled every branch, and then future branches are going to get picked up by the TypeScript compiler. In my opinion, this is far more clear and easy to reason about and know where to make changes in the future. 3. Name things correctly. The function should be named based upon what it should be doing. And as we saw in the last example, it's not simply checking the AI file staleness, it's also logging the output. So you should name it as such. Named functions serve as instant documentation to the caller of your function and future readers of your code, so be them humans or AI. Okay, now, I know what you're thinking because I'm thinking it too. Can't we just get AI to solve our AI-created slot problems? Well, you'd be in luck because the answer is yes, as I've attempted to distill all of this knowledge down into this skill. So if you want a just do it like Mike would do it, then run this de-slop skill. I've tested it quite a few times and put it through a batch of evals, and it does a pretty good job. If you do try it out though, please do leave me a comment down below because I'm very interested to hear how you get on with it. And if you find issues with it that can be improved, then don't hesitate to open a PR or an issue. Stay tuned though, as I might be adding more skills there in the future too. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it here as I have more slop to write. But if you did like this video, then I strongly suggest you go back and watch my other 2 clean code videos that I did back last year. Here's a link to one of them right here. But that's just about it for me for today. Until next time, thanks for watching. Cheerio.